What's happening, guys? Safety Liner C2 here. So, about 5 years ago at this point, I put out a video on GreenPower and their then unnamed Type D, and this is what I had to say about them. Now, I think this is actually a very interesting concept, but I don't think it's going to take off anytime soon. To an extent, that's true, but also more recently, it has become not true to my surprise. Towards the end of that video, this is what I had to say about them. Now, I definitely do want to keep my eye on this company though, because I think that once one of these big companies implements it, I think that this company might be able to bring something revolutionary. Okay, so maybe this isn't revolutionary. For all I know, it could be, and they could be surprising us out of nowhere, but it is something noteworthy, and it is from a smaller company. We won't call it revolutionary, but it is something that I want to share with you. So obviously by the title of this video, you know, whatever stupid name I come up with for this, GreenPower is making a Type A school bus. Now that kind of hit me out of nowhere. I wasn't really expecting to see that. GreenPower has been ramping up production of their Type D, which is called the Beast. So, I mean, it makes sense, but I just wasn't expecting it. So without any further ado, let me start off by saying these pictures are not mine. I've never seen this bus in person. This has not been officially announced, and I've only seen this in a group with very minimal context to it. So we're just going to base a lot of stuff off of what GreenPower currently has, what they've done in the past, and what we see in these pictures. And all of these opinions are mine. All right, here it is. I don't think it's a bad looking bus at all. So you can see that there are a couple. There's three in this picture. There's the one up front, one behind it, and then one behind that. Obviously still not completely finished yet, but it's not bad. So let's talk about the chassis itself first. I think that looks like a mix between a Ford Transit series and the unreleased CE prototype. And I'm a fan of it. I think it looks fine on there. This also appears to be the same exact chassis that they use on other buses in their lineup, which makes perfect sense. So overall, chassis is A-okay by me. Moving on to the body, I can't tell if I want to make comparisons to a Collins or a G5, so we're just going to call it right in the middle because I definitely see aspects of both of them in there. But for the sake of my point here, I just want to say that why is GreenPower making a Type A that looks like Collins, but then they made a Type D that, in the words of Adam, according to my last video, looked like a great value D3? I don't know. I mean, there are other ways to make a school bus that don't just involve copying and pasting other aspects, you know, making it look kind of the exact same. Not to say that this is the exact same. There are differences here, but it's almost coming to the point of you can copy my homework, but don't make it obvious. Ignore the main part of this picture with the right-hand drive. You can see right in front of this, there's a city bus, and I believe that they do more Asian markets as well. Looking on the left-hand side of this picture, we can see one of the buses. Actually, there's two of them. The doors look fairly big. I'm curious to see if they're going to use this one door design that they used in the promotional video of the Beast, or maybe it's currently being used. I don't know. Or if it is going to be two separate, you know, doors like is standard on a school bus. The windows also look fairly big. Otherwise, there's not much you can tell. Here's another picture. You can see the bus with a Beast in the background and what I assume to be another one behind that. And that's it. So I think we need to come up with a name for this. And if we have the Type D being the Beast, I think we need to come up with a small name, or like refer to the bus as small. So let's call this bus the Critter. Okay, so far the Critter, what a stupid name. It seems to be going fine so far, in my opinion, and it actually looks like there are a handful that are being produced. Now, because of the angles, you can't tell exactly how many there are. You can see a handful in this picture. There's two on the left, there's one being built on the right, and a chassis for one behind that. So I'm guessing that, you know, probably a dozen or so at most that have been produced. Mind you, I also don't know when these pictures are from. I just know that they're recent. Now, like I said earlier, this bus hasn't been officially announced. There's been nothing on it. But we can take a look at GreenPower's website, and there is a bus that is fairly similar to it, just marketed as a transit bus. This is the EV Star Plus. You can see based off of the picture, it does look pretty similar. So the reason I bring this up is because this is an electric bus, range is obviously an important thing, and according to their website, this bus can go up to, keywords up to, 150 miles. Now compare that to the Beast, which only has a range of 140 miles. I would think that due to the smaller size of the bus, it would be able to go a lot further than just 10 miles over what the Beast can do. But because we don't know the amount of batteries that are going to be on this bus or the capacity of them, the smaller bus also could mean smaller batteries and mean that, not as long of a range as one might hope. And comparing that to the electric G5, which has a range up to 100 miles, 150 miles is pretty impressive. Now, obviously, I'm not saying, oh my gosh, this is the best thing ever, this is the most you can get out of it, whatever. It's all going to vary on temperature and weight and the size of the buses. There's all these different factors that contribute to the actual range of the bus. But if we're talking 50 miles over the electric G5, I mean, it's just a point to bring up. We're going to have to wait and see whatever the actual number that they throw out there is, because it could be higher or it could be a lot lower. But right now, 150 miles isn't going to get you too far when you're driving a school bus, especially depending on where you are. If you're in a more rural area, that might not be as desirable of a number, but maybe an maybe in a more urban area, that isn't a bad number. Let's shift gears a tiny bit and continue on the topic of GreenPower, but just talk more about it in general, because as I said at the beginning of the video, they are ramping up and there have been some things that have happened to them. Let's talk about them. Let's take a look at this Forbes article. New GreenPower electric school bus plant announced as concern for student health builds. I'll go ahead and link this down below if you want to read it. I'm not going to read the full thing, just highlight a couple points here. First key point being GreenPower, a major producer of electric school buses, medium and heavy duty vehicles, said Wednesday it had struck a deal with the state of West Virginia to lease/purchase a property in order to begin building battery electric zero emission buses there. So GreenPower is apparently building a plant in West Virginia. That finally gives me a valid reason to visit West Virginia. I also just need to point this out because I do. They show a picture of the CEO and they say that GreenPower is a leading producer of electric school buses and electric medium and heavy duty commercial vehicles. But are they really a leading producer? I don't think so. School Transportation News reports that there were 667 electric school buses that were made. I know for a fact that all 667 were not GreenPower, and my guess is probably less than 100. There are districts that are getting them. It has been seen before. There's just not a lot of them. Going back to that Forbes article, the next point that I want to bring up is that West Virginia agreed to purchase a minimum of $15 million in zero-emission GreenPower school buses. This guy sees the potential to book 40 to 50 million in sales from the new facility. Obviously, that's great for business. West Virginia just really isn't the first place that you would think electric school buses would be. I would think more so along the lines of New York or California. But it does make sense. Like, you would see a lot of ICs in Oklahoma or Bluebirds, Georgia, and Thomas in North Carolina. But great, and Adam, I expect to see a lot of pictures of these. Now, the point that surprised me, remember, this article was put out in January, but they wrote, eventually the company could add Type A buses which are similar to shuttle vans able to accommodate students in wheelchairs. So maybe this has been a thing. Obviously, they said eventually the company could add. I think it's just kind of ironic that a few short months later, they're putting a Type A into production, even if it hasn't been officially announced. All right, so I don't have too much information. I just wanted to get that out there. Just, yeah. But one thing I want to do before we go is, because this school bus is not complete, I think that we need to complete it ourselves. So let's see what a completed critter might look like. I've seen worse. Okay, overall, not a bad looking bus. Obviously, the one I photoshopped it is not in that part. Unless GreenPower likes it. GreenPower, if you want to hire me to design school buses and make promotional art like this, you can find my email down below. Yeah. Okay, but in all seriousness, I am interested to see what actually comes of this bus. If it gets announced and there is significant stuff attached with it, obviously I'll share it with y'all. I'll try and do a video on it. But if not, then who knows what I'll do. Yeah, so I'm a fan of the critter so far. Interested to see what ends up happening with it, whether this is going to take off and actually be a marketable bus, and there are, dozens of them on the road here and there, or rather hundreds of them on the road here and there, or if it will just be dozens in West Virginia, apparently. Regardless, let me know your thoughts down below on the critter and GreenPower in general. I'm always interested to hear it, so do that. Let me know what you're thinking, and let's have a conversation about it. So anyways, that is going to do it for this video. Thank you all so much for watching. I always do appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe right down here. It's a magical red button that says you're now subscribed to Safety Liner C2. Make sure you comment up here, down here, over here, or over here. I don't know where they put it, I don't care where they put it. Make sure you also give this video a thumbs up, or GreenPower is going to hire me to do all of their marketing and graphic design, and that's probably not going to end well for anyone. And make sure you also share this video with a friend. Show it to your mom, show it to your dad, show it to a guy on a random street. I don't care. Don't let anything happen to you. So yeah, guys, that's going to do it for this video, and thanks for watching.